I goes right back from the beginning. I've always done a lot of exercise. I grew up on the back of my dad's bike, from the seat that goes on the back of his bike to the back of his tandem to following him around lanes as he used to race. I've always done at school a lot of football, athletics, whether it was at school or for clubs. Secondary school, I did football, athletics, rugby, played for local teams, played for school teams. At the age of 16, I started doing weights because somebody called me lanky when I was at athletics. So I started, whilst I was growing up, I wasn't growing out, so I started doing them. Probably very bad form in my garage. 23, I had my first arthroscopy on my left knee. And then when I was 27, I had some hip pain that I spent about 12 months merry-go-round, costing Bupa a lot of money, trying to find out what it was. I went through consultants and MRIs and x-rays, and I had dye injected in my leg to find out, I have no idea what. And then finally I was referred to John Breen, who's here somewhere. And in about 42 seconds he told me exactly what was wrong with me. Gave me exercises, which within about 2 months it had pretty much gone. So I guess then from then, over the last 10 years, I've done lots of weights, running, triathlon, etc., etc. I had lots of injuries, shoulders, knees, back, etc. Then about 18 months ago.
So when you say injuries,
yeah.
What do you mean?
So probably bad form of doing whatever I've done. I've done both my rotator cuffs many times in the gym. I've got runner's knee. I had plantar fasciitis in both my feet, which actually wasn't. It was something to do with the underlying tendons were very tight in my feet at the end of doing triathlons. And all of these injuries hung around for quite a while. So there's an osteopath I see, you might be here somewhere, called Alex Fugalo, and he always says every time I injure myself, it just hangs around. It doesn't seem to go very quickly. And so yeah, probably Bupa's worst nightmare because it cost them a lot of money from sort of various treatments. Then about 15 months ago, I was in the gym and I felt my back go. I was lifting weights and I just, down the right hand side, felt it really, really hurt. So I spent about, again, 12 months again on this merry-go-round of physios and consultants and steroid injections in my back, and just various things. I wasn't getting anywhere. So I could always, with certain treatments, reduce the pain, but straight as I stopped having the physio or the osteopathy, they just came back again. I've always had pain in my back. I'm 6'5", I'm 16 stone, and it's always been there. So if I stand for too long, my back has never really liked it. I hate queuing, whether that's because I'm impatient or I don't like standing, I don't know which. And if I go hard on my bike, I get off, I have to really stretch my back out. So it's been there for a long time. When I ended up going to the consultant, did an MRI on me and said 2 of my discs, L23 and L45, were pushing into the nerve, and I think L45 was the worst one. So he said, and that's what's causing the pain. So it's sort of pushing in there constantly. So as I say, I had the steroid injection. That was about 5 weeks ago.
Was that epidural?
Yes, it was. So I was knocked out. Had that. Woke up. He said some people will wake up and it'll be totally gone, and they'll spring out of hospital. I woke up feeling not a lot different. And then it's been even worse since I had that done. I ended up in A&E about 3 or 4 weeks ago because I couldn't stand, I couldn't sit. All I could do was lay very uncomfortably. So it was a Sunday. I thought I just went to A&E. Doctor said that you can sit here for 5 hours and they'll tell you nothing, or I could give you some cocodamol and some, not Valium, another muscle relaxant. So I went back to the surgeon, said it's done nothing, and he said, well, I can't really do a lot apart from surgery, where I'd have to fuse L4 and 5 and 2 and 3, but then you'd have one in the middle that would take a lot of strain, you have to fuse that as well, and then you would be very immobile, so there's not a lot I can do for you. So there must be something you can do for me. So he said, I'll refer you to a pain specialist, which to me just said take some drugs and not actually sort it out, just numb the pain.
Yeah.
He also said maybe we could get you some physio treatment. And I was like, well, who can I go to? Finally managed to prize it out, and he gave me the name again of John Green, who I'd seen what was probably 15 years ago. So I called John, went to see John, and again within probably 2 minutes he was like, well, there are some underlying issues I can see from the way you stand. When I stand, almost my back and shoulders are further out than my glutes, so I stand on my heels. And the story of what I've sort of, from the consultants, etc., he said it's kind of almost a classic modern day medicine approach of stick a needle in it and see if it works. It hurts constantly, morning, evening, sleeping. In my job I have to travel a lot, so I have to get on a lot of planes, so it's not very comfortable. So all in all, it's a bit of a pain in the back.
So, what do you think? You said that you did a lift. It was triggered with lifting in the gym 12 months ago. What were you doing?
I was doing, I'm not sure what it was. It was kind of a curl, 2 dumbbells, where you bring them up onto your shoulders. I can't remember what it's called.
So you're in a squat position.
No, you're standing up with them and you do a slight bend to get up on your shoulders. And it was just that going forward, I probably had my back not straight, too straight, something or other, and it just twinged.
Sort of twinged. And that's kind of set off a cascade. And is the pain still in that spot?
Yeah, it's very, very localized there.
So bottom right.
I mean it flares up.
Spread.
Yeah, over Christmas, it just turned into a bad pain that went right across my back. And then when I ended up in A&E, it was just everywhere.
So the A&E event was after the injection, though?
Yeah, about 2 weeks after the
It
injection.
was related.
I was out on my bike. It was a pouring rain, wet day. I was off road, slipping around in the mud. I fell off, and just slid. That kind of made me probably end up in A&E, but it's never been that bad until I had the injection.
So you feel like it was a combination of things?
Yeah, I think so. But it's categorically been worse since I had the injection.
So if you look at, your story is interesting because I'm hearing a number of things. One is you love exercise. It's part of who you are. It's very important
And
for
I
you.
absolutely have to do it, sort of thing.
And why is that? I'm like that as well. So I'm just interested in your thoughts.
It's mental release. It's a time when no one else, can get you. I've got an hour and a half to do exactly what I want. My job's quite long and stressful, so it's again good release from that. Whenever I travel, I just have one criteria that it has a decent gym. So I can, especially also if I'm on different time zones, going to the gym will help wake me up.
So it's kind of fundamental for your mental health, for your physical health, for your well-being, and you love it.
Absolutely.
And have you been able to do it with this back problem?
I still do it. I go to the gym. I might be in there an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half. I'm spending 45 minutes stretching just so I can then do something in the gym.
So you're saying that your back feels stiff?
Constantly.
Stiff.
Oh.
Okay, and is that since a year ago?
And over that year it's gone up and down. It's hard. There's no real catalyst for. Okay, when I'm in A&E, it was probably to do with my bike. At Christmas's band of pain, there was nothing specific that I.
So what you're saying is you have this kind of background pain, and then you have a flare up every now and then. How many flare ups have you had in the last 2 weeks?
Bad ones, probably 3 or 4. Where it's agony. The A&E was the worst. But the underlying pain is slowly getting higher and higher.
Okay, so you feel like it's the baseline's ramping up, and the flare-ups have been getting worse. And why do you think that is?
either I'm not treating it properly or whatever it is. I guess without treatment, it's just going to incrementally get worse.
Yeah.
Now maybe, so the surgeon says to me, you need to stop doing weights, or you need to do more body weight. So things like when you're doing a chest press and you've got your feet on the floor, you would naturally arch your back. So it puts load through your back rather than it just coming through your body. Okay. So whether there are techniques and things that will not make it worse, I probably need to know those. Or if there's stretching, I don't know, I need something to stop it getting progressively worse, because it is.
So what's been going through your head over this year? Because I'm presuming how much money have you spent on this?
Well, spent a lot of Bupa's money, but I've no more Bupa's money left, so I'm now spending my own money.
Yeah. So but I'm hearing you've had a lot of stuff done.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
So in spite of having a lot of stuff done, you feel like it's getting worse.
Yes.
So what's that doing to you?
I guess what I can't have is more A&E incidences, because one, I can't go to work.
Sure.
And two, I can't exercise. I've got two young boys, they're 7 and 9.
Yep.
You know, they want to wrestle, they want to fight, they want to run, they want me to throw them around.
Yep.
So
can you do that?
Ish, not as much as I want. I mean, I can. Last night I'm running up and down the lane racing them. It hurts the entire time, but I'm still.
So you're persisting in spite of pain.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going on? What's going through your head? I mean, you must think a lot about this. I mean,
as every good man, though, I'm brilliant at putting stuff in a box and closing it over there. But it's always underlying: is this going to continue to get worse? Yeah. So, is it going to stop me exercising? Is it going to? Am I going to have more episodes where I am later?
Threatens your work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's always there. Or how much worse is it going to get?
Does it worry you?
Yeah, I mean, again,
it bothers you.
It annoys the out of me, to be honest. At the moment, it's more very, very annoying.
So frustrating.
Yes.
Yeah. That you're trying all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you're spending 45 minutes every day stretching.
Yeah.
And it keeps sticking up.
Yeah. And that stretching is having less and less effect.
Right.
So, when I first went to a physio, I was told all my hips are very tight, my ITB bands are tight, my glutes are tight. So I had a lot of I couldn't squat for any long period of time, sort of down on my haunches. Now I'm sitting there for about an hour, so I'm much more flexible than I ever was, but it's still getting worse.
Yeah. So is there a relationship between the stiffness in your back and your pain or not?
I kind of see them as the same thing.
Right.
You know, I don't really care about the pain. I do. What I care about is whether it is doing long-term damage to me. Okay. So if I bend over and it hurts, it hurts.
So what's the meaning of the pain?
Yeah, exactly. If it's just pain, then it bothers me less. Yes, of course it's pain, it hurts.
Right. So what is the meaning that you attach to the pain then?
So before, when I went to see the surgeon, the meaning of the pain when you told me the disc was pushing into my nerve was, that's a bad thing. Am I pushing the disc more? Is it going to push more out? Am I doing more long-term damage? So I saw John, and he has a different view on it, and instantly coming out of there, the pain is, I don't know whether it's less, it's more acceptable, so actually maybe it's not that. So maybe that does contribute to it, but maybe
the meaning behind the pain is really important for you.
Yeah. In
terms of, is this structurally going to threaten your future?
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of, so in your mind, are you thinking that there's something damaged in your back?
Less so now. I see.
But if I'd seen you a couple of weeks ago?
If you'd seen me before I seen you, when I went in to see John, I've got 2 bulging discs, they're pushing into my nerves. Surgeon said I could fuse your discs, but
that's with risk.
Yeah, that's with risk, and he wouldn't actually recommend it. Go and see another doctor that will give you drugs to manage the pain.
And I'm hearing that.
So,
So in your, sorry to come back to this, it's really important. So in your mind now, you're kind of ambivalent on that damage thing.
Yeah, I'm
you're questioning it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if we look at your pain experience, you said that you have this sense of stiffness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are there things that, like, is it directional? Is it general stiffness or is it directional stiffness?
It's bending forward.
So it feels stiff to bend.
Yes.
Okay. And so when you do your 45-minute stretching,
Yeah.
you're trying to loosen up your bending.
I'm trying to loosen up all of my hip area.
Yeah.
So I had, when I went to see Alex, the osteopath, I've got these lumps on my ITB bands that can release them. I would see them, I'd see Alex, he would release them, and then it would really reduce the pain, so it was great. So I'll work on those bits I've had before. I'll work on opening up my hips.
Yeah.
I don't even touch my back. I once rolled my back and it hurt for about 3 weeks afterwards. So
you direct your
it's sort of
stretching to your
more
hip.
around here
Yeah,
to
okay.
open it up.
Okay.
But it's almost a combination of a year's worth of different exercises I've been given.
Yeah.
Whether they're right or wrong now, I don't really know anymore.
Okay. So what are the things that tense you up, do you think? Because I'm interested in, I'm
Yeah.
hearing this thickness is a kind of key feature, and it's
Yeah.
not just in your back, it's around your hips as well.
Yeah.
What are the things that you understand stiffen you?
Standing. So weekends.
So holding a posture.
Yeah, at the weekends it's significantly worse.
Yeah.
Because I'm up, I'm not sitting down, whereas in the week I'll get up, so I get up at 6, 6:15. I'm on a train by 6:45. I've then got half an hour where I'm sat down. And I think that standing, probably with bad posture, and my back is quite curved, and there's pretty pressure on it. At the weekend I'm doing a lot of standing, that makes it hurt more. Whereas in the week, I'm sat on the train and the tube for 45 minutes, then I'm at the gym. So by 9 o'clock, I've had 45 minutes of sitting down with it kind of curved, probably opening it up a bit. I've done 45 minutes of stretching. I'm then at work where I'm up and down and I'm sitting and I'm standing. So definitely standing, and standing more than walking. Sort of just standing around with probably bad posture just makes it.
So are you naturally a tense guy?
You reckon? Other people, I don't think so, but probably probably more so as I've got older. My job's got more sort of more pressurised. I'm sure it makes me more tense.
Yeah. How much pressure is your job?
Pretty big.
Out of 10, 0 is nothing, 10's max.
Between 5 and 11.
So how much do you feel like you wear it?
Again, I
Have you
think
got a good switch off or not?
probably less than I used to. I
That's
just, it's life also puts more pressure.
Yeah.
You know,
You've got 2 kids.
I've got 2 kids.
Travel.
Moved house 2 years ago. Got a mortgage longer than my leg. You know, all of that stuff probably adds to the pressure of the job. Without the job, the rest of it kind of
Falls over.
But I love my job. I can't.
No, I get that.
Yeah. So luckily, it's not a hideous job, and it's between 5 and 11.
So if you look at the last 2 years,
Yeah.
how much more pressure is loaded up in your life?
A lot. 2 years ago, I changed job. I moved house. So I went from a job that still had pressure to it, but more pressurised, and more of a need for that job to work, because all of a sudden
Because you've got commitments.
the commitments just, sort of exponentially went up.
Yeah.
So,
Is that, how much do you think those factors interplay with all of this?
I have to. I mean,
Do you think they do?
I think everything's connected to everything.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
I'm just interested in what
Yeah.
your perception is, though.
So, yes, I'm sure it does. It's one thing that's hard to remove.
No, I get that.
Yeah, it kind of
Yeah.
it is there, but
So we kind of look at those things and go, well, how much of those things am I implied? Well, I'm not hearing they are.
yeah, they're harder to modify. You know, the whole.
So when were you last on holiday?
I always August last year, so I have 2 weeks off over Christmas.
Yeah. What was that like? That was when you had the flare.
Yeah, I had 25 people attending from the house, so it was nothing
Relaxed about it.
nothing relaxing. Cooking for 25 people was not relaxing at all.
Okay. So August you had 2 weeks.
Yeah,
What
2
was that
weeks.
like?
Lovely.
So how was your back?
It was a lot better back in August anyway.
Right.
So I can't remember where I was, but I think I was having weekly treatment. It was just relieving it.
Yeah.
But generally it was better. But you sit on the beach, you can't sit on the beach for very long because it just starts to get uncomfortable.
Okay. So if we, because these things are all probably very important. I'm just interested. How much do you feel like you can switch off from the pressure?
Exercise is one, which is why not being able to do it has a bigger impact than just not being able to do it.
So I'm hearing, if I kind of looked at your trajectory, you've got escalating stress levels, you've got diminishing exercise capacity.
Yeah.
And exercise is the way in which you manage stress.
Yeah.
And if your stress levels go up, do you feel it? Do you think there's a link between your tension and your body?
Yeah, I don't sleep as well.
Right. So what is your sleep like?
It's worse now because I wake up and my back hurting.
Is that when you turn or just waking up with it?
It's generally, I think I'm laying in a fixed position and it just gets grumpy.
Sure, tenses up.
And probably end up. So I've also been through 4 mattresses in the last 6 months. So I bought.
That's expensive.
I'm also an expert at returning stuff now. So the first one I bought, our old mattress served its life, so we thought we'll replace it with the same mattress. It arrived and it was like a blancmange. It was so soft. So I sent that one back and got another one. The next one was like laying on a piece of jelly. So I sent that one back. I got another one and I sent that one back. And finally got a final one, which actually is probably too hard for my back. But I've gone through 4 mattresses now, so I can't, no, it's been too long. Even John Lewis won't take this one back now. But I think it's too hard. I think I'm laying on the bed rather than in the bed. So I probably need to get some kind of mattress cover, so I'm sitting a bit more in it.
So how many hours of sleep are you getting a night?
I go to bed at 10ish, I get up at 6ish. So I aim for 8 hours.
Yeah, okay.
But then, I have to get on a plane and I'm in a different time zone where that 8 hours turns into a weird kind of hybrid of 2 here, 3 there, 4 there.
Yeah. So are you worse after you've been travelling? You get
my back?
Yeah.
Not
clearly.
Not noticeably.
Okay.
No, it just interrupts my sleep, which probably has an impact.
So you said that pains are all the time. Does that mean every minute of the day you feel it?
I mean, I sit here now and I can very slightly feel it. If I move slightly, I feel it. So, and I think that's the progression. It never used to be. I could almost get rid of it, and it would come back. Now it is all day, every day, constantly, and I'm getting more and more stiff.
So, I'm hearing 2 things. One is that the stiffness builds up.
Yeah.
That movement, but you have pain with movement, but movement actually gives you relief.
Yes.
But you're having to move more and more and more to try and get relief.
Yeah. So
that's the escalating.
Being in any fixed position for a period of time. So I'll be in meetings, I have to get up and walk around. People think I'm weird. Why are you walking around the room?
Yeah.
Sit down again.
Yeah. So what do you think you need to get better?
A new job? No. Retire?
No, honestly, seriously.
No, what do I need to get? I don't know.
What do you think? What do you honestly think would... one, do you think you're going to get better?
Yes. Okay. Well, I kind of have to, sort of thing. So I think that
you're worried that this is escalating, and in spite of all this stuff, you're not going the direction you want to go.
Yes. Yeah.
So, what do you think you need to change that trajectory?
Yeah. Some guidance, I guess, because I can't work it out.
Got it.
And
so you can't make sense of this?
No. There doesn't seem to be any massive rhyme or reason behind what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I flew back from America yesterday. I'm on a plane for whatever, 6 hours. I get off and it feels fine. I mean, not fine, but it should be stiffer. I wake up this morning in my own bed for 7-8 hours sleep, and it's it's like someone's twisted a knot in it. Then tomorrow I'll go to bed and I'll wake up and it'll feel, there just doesn't seem to be,
Do you have other aches and pains or symptoms in your body?
Not massive. I have a bit, my rotator cuff is grotty just because I had bad form on a shoulder press a while ago, but it's okay.
Your back is your primary.
My back is, yeah.
Okay. And your general health?
I think, I try and get enough sleep. I eat pretty well.
Yeah.
I exercise a lot. I probably drink too many glasses of wine, but on the whole, I don't drink in a week.
Yeah.
On the whole, I'm sure the stress levels are not the healthiest things in the world.
Yeah.
But also, I would get bored if I didn't have them.
Yeah, okay. Got it. So let me just recap what I'm hearing. Overall, you strike me as a guy who's full on, busy life, you love your work, you kind of rebel in a bit of pressure.
Yep.
But it's kind of really escalated in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
That pressure.
Yep.
You're someone else who loves exercise, and that's been your way of managing the fact that you push yourself hard.
Yep.
But this last year, it's kind of unraveled a bit.
Yeah.
That you hurt yourself doing the exercise, you had heaps of treatment, it's getting worse, you're not quite sure why you're in pain,
Yep.
you're not really in control of it, so the whole thing's not making much sense.
Yep.
And at the moment, you're kind of staring at managing this by using drugs, and that doesn't feel good to you.
Absolutely.
In terms of what you think is going on, you've got real mixed messages, I think, which just kind of creates uncertainty. You've got this underlying, in the box that you said sits out here, worry about this getting worse, not being in control of this, it threatening your job and your level of capacity to be active.
Yeah.
Play with your kids, do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they are all very real, important things. Does it affect your mood at all?
My back, yes. It can, probably at the weekends, just because it hurts a lot, so it's just annoying. It's annoying to drop something on the floor.
And that's the frustration.
Yes.
Part.
Yeah, and say to my 8-year-old, 7-year-old, can you pick that up? Just because it's easier.
Are you avoiding stuff with your back?
Yeah, so I'll probably be doing totally the wrong things. Or whenever you go to the gym, I've seen many personal trainers, but they'll always tell you when you squat, keep your back rigid, bend at the waist.
Yeah.
Don't arch back.
Round to back. Yeah.
Round to back, sorry, at all.
So have you been doing that?
I've been trying to keep my back rigid, so if I'm at home and I go down to pick something up, I'm almost going down like a ball, just using my legs, picking it up, or I'll lean forward on one foot. So I've been actually actively trying not to bend it, which probably hasn't helped.
Because you said that you get relief by bending.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So that's a bit of a contradiction, isn't it?
Yeah, but I've had years of everyone, to support your back, you keep it straight. If you're doing squats, you keep it straight. If you're doing deadlifts,
But your personal experience is that you get stiff to bend, and bending makes you feel better.
Yeah, the bending hurts, so I think up until...
So the more you bend,
probably the better it is, but I haven't been, until I saw John, I haven't been bending.
Because you're worried.
Because I'm worried about this disc or what it is that's holding it.
Got it. That makes sense.
Because it's conflicting.
Got it.
Do I
Yeah,
not?
got it. Completely understand it.
Yeah.
We were talking about it yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a sense, you're getting all this advice, which you're adhering to, and your overall condition is getting worse, in spite of adhering to the advice.
Yeah.
But your personal experiences, your stiffness builds up.
Yeah.
You need 45 minutes to unravel it to allow you to bend. It feels better, but it comes back again. So do you have a picture of your back?
A mental one?
Yeah.
An internal one. Well, it was something pushing on something else. Before then, it was... I think before I had the injection, it was just... It didn't feel like such a big thing. It just felt like one of the many aches and pains I get.
Yeah, okay. So this kind of created something else.
Yeah, so actually having that injection, I've now been told I've got 2 squash discs.
Yeah, so it's kind of ramped it up.
Yeah, mentally I'm now thinking, wow, I'm 42, I've got 2 screwed discs. What's it going to be like in 10 years' time?
Do you know how many people at 42 are walking around with these things?
I think 63%.
I am very impressed. Can you be more specific? Yeah, right. Okay, I've got your story. That's cool. Is there anything you want to add to it?
just want
I understand that.
kind of find out, I don't want to actually remove pain. I'm interested to know what is wrong with it, why it's doing it, and why, you know, I've got a crossbow that I stick in my bottom, my glue.
I don't think everybody's doing that.
So I roll it on my glue, and you know, it's like it's very, very painful. And I do it a few times and it goes, and then it's just back again.
Yeah.
You know, I'll roll the TV.
Yeah.
They go. And it's
fuel
just back
intention.
again.
Yeah.
And it's just almost an interesting. Why does it keep coming back? It doesn't. Yeah.
Sorry, I got that during picture of Rick yeah, mate. I would, put it in plastic. What do you feel right now?
I can feel it. It's just there, and then I start to move when I stand
So
up.
when you said you move, you can't do this thing.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm just moving my hips.
Do you do that a lot?
Not until you told me I did. No, maybe I do. I can't sit still.
Do you check it?
Probably. Or by doing that.
Oh, nice.
Just by doing that.
So you do that a lot?
Just to see what's going on with it.
Yeah. So you're checking it?
Yeah.
Just to go, is it still there?
Yeah.
How often do you check it?
No idea. No idea until about now.
I just saw you doing this.
Yeah.
And when I say, what does it feel like you're doing this?
I think probably because
And that hurts to do that.
I can just feel it. It's because I've sat here saying it hurts all day, every day, and now I can only kind of just feel it. It's like you're actually still there, or do
No. Okay. So if you're at work,
yeah.
are you completely immersed in your work, or how much are you thinking about your back?
Do you know what? I'm not conscious of it. I'm probably, it's probably going from when I'm sat down to going to standing up, or when I'm coming to sit down.
Okay.
I had
Transitioning.
Yeah. No, I had
So do you sit like this at work?
No, I generally sit. So I had a workplace assessment course,
Yeah.
and everything apparently has got to be at a right angle. So I live by right angles. But again, you know, big John is, you know, I'm trying to. I've got wheels on my chair, which I should get. I've got an air-on chair, which is meant to be really good, apparently. So it's got wheels on it, and it's got a back, which is actually quite springy. So I spend the entire day sliding forward on the wheels. No, come back again. Sliding forward on the sliding federation, but it does slide backwards. So I spend the day kind of going like this on my chair.
So you don't use the back of the chair?
And I just bolt upright and try and do that. But it's
Does it feel good?
Not really. All it's doing is the chair is this thing in the back. If my back's already curved, I don't need any more curve in it. So it's probably actually, the chair is probably worse for me than having a straight back chair.
Yeah.
Because it's pushing into my back.
So I'm hearing that you're spending your day from here and then creeping forward.
Yeah. I'm kind of going back and forward.
Yeah. Okay. Let's have a look at you. Can you stand up? Did you feel that coming up?
Yeah.
Sit down again. Can you tell me when you feel it?
So if I'm again, I probably even, the way I stand up now is if I think about it.
So you're thinking of standing.
You're
anticipating pain.
Yeah. And so John said, the top of my stomach muscles there, I've got like a 2-pack, just there and there, as in I'm constantly tensing them up.
Why are you doing that?
Mentally, if my stomach is locked, I'm supporting my back. It's actually now.
Is that what you're being told?
I guess you've been told, you know, where if you squat, you know,
Brace
your core. So I'm thinking, right, if I brace my core when I stand up, it's gonna support my back.
Okay.
The fact that bracing it is actually probably making it work.
Do you understand why?
Just because it's all interconnected. So if I'm doing that really tight and that's not right, just pulling it left, right. And also I think your stomach muscles, the fibers go down. So if I tense it, pulling like this, so whether that's a good or a bad thing, this is a bad thing.
Well, we kind of see it a bit like a wrist. And if you move your wrist, that's fine. If you clench it, it makes it very stiff. And in the same way, if you clench your stomach, it tenses your back. And it's like a clench. And that creates stiffness. And I'm hearing that stiffness is a really key theme in your story. I'm hearing you've been given heaps of advice to keep straight, brace yourself. But you're anticipating pain, so you use bracing yourself as a strategy to move.
Which actually makes it work. Yeah. So when I stand up, it's almost like I feel like I'm about to go up from a squat. You know, instead of maybe just naturally. Again,
so do what you would normally do to get up out of the chair. Is that painful?
Yeah.
Okay, sit down again. What do you think you would have done before you hurt your back? Just stand up.
Even thought about it.
Just do that.
I've been trying not to, just kind of just.
What's that like?
But I was thinking. I spent the last year conditioning my brain. So if I'm not,
tense up.
Yeah, if I'm not thinking about it when I stand up, I've now, crafted this pathway of this is how you stand up, and that's how I stand up.
So do you understand how that drives stiffness? Creates load.
Now I do.
Right.
As of 2 weeks ago, I saw it go. Now I kind of get that understanding.
So if you stand up again, do you hold your breath when you do it?
Yeah.
Do you know that?
Again, I just said I kind of got that. I'm holding my breath. Again, it's almost, or I'm breathing out, like I'm doing a squat.
Tensing yourself up.
Yeah.
So just stand up again.
Which way do
Your
you
normal way. Well, that's your normal this year way.
My normal this year.
The way you've trained yourself to stand up, right? And that's stiff.
Yeah.
And you feel it. Okay, come down again. So this time, relax and breathe into the movement. Push through your feet. Don't think about your back. Breathe in. Yeah. What's that like? Where's your plane? See ya. That's very much it. Yeah. So breathe out. Can you put your shirt? Well, actually, before you do that, what are the most threatening things for you to do? You said you asked your kid to pick stuff up.
Yeah.
You pick that up.
So this is, I pick stuff up like that.
So you're anticipating pain to bend.
Yeah.
So what are you doing when you do that?
I'm tensing up around here. So since I saw John, to pick something up, I'm trying to be more just sort of pick it up. Rather than before, I would, that's on the floor, I'm going down like this. So I'm keeping my back straight.
Right.
Or, if it's somewhere like that, I will go down like that. But again, I can feel it tensing up around here.
Yeah, got it. Are you happy with the jump rope?
Yeah.
So you're kind of starting to understand a few things, right?
Yeah.
So you've basically drilled your body, you've conditioned your body to protect itself.
Yeah.
And your experience is you're getting worse and you're getting stiffer. Yeah. And your protection strategy is using muscle tension, which creates stiffness. And you're thinking bending's bad because lots of people have told you, but your experience is actually if you relax bending, it feels like it's better. No. And there's a lot of we were talking about yesterday, a lot of the advice and beliefs that people have about backs are based on beliefs, not evidence. Yeah. And so when someone like yourself gets given all that belief, and you start practicing it really well, and you start feeling like you're getting worse. And then you go, well, how does this work? And it leaves you stuck. Yeah. So can we just have a look at, just stand side on, no, face this way, it's cool. So you say, where is your pain? So it's quite lateral, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like something.
Can you touch it?
Not really. Yeah, that's the...
Is that like it?
Just feels like someone's sticking their finger in my back.
Yeah. If I do it this side.
It might be slightly more there.
In a bit of a tension pattern. So if I push you, what do you do?
Kind of go like that.
You tense up.
Yeah.
Is that like the pain you get? Is that the area?
It's definitely the area, yeah.
Do you know what I'm fucking on? Go and tell me that.
Bone, is it? Or...
No. pushing on? Or you're pushing on here?
Muscle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I did that to you,
Yeah.
same pressure,
Yeah.
same pressure, does that worry?
The same pressure as that. Right.
Different.
Yeah.
Same pressure, different feeling.
Yeah.
So I'm pushing on muscle,
Yeah.
and you reckon that's where your pain is?
Where sometimes it feels deep inside.
Uh-huh.
You know, like when I look in A&E, it's just everywhere.
Got it. And if you feel that muscle, does it feel soft or hard?
Rock hard.
Yeah. So how do you make a muscle in your body rock hard, do you reckon? So if you use your forearm or your biceps, how do you make it rock hard?
I'm constantly tension.
So imagine if I put a 5 kilogram weight in this arm.
Yeah.
I said, hold on to it for a year. You would, yeah. There's some pretty big back muscles here. How would that feel in your arm? Probably pretty stiff.
Yeah. Thanks.
Can I have a look at you do some movements? So I'm interested in that bending over thing that you do. Just face this way. Sorry, face away. Face that way, yeah. Just bend down and pick that up. And what do you feel?
So again, I was trying not, I'm leaning that arm on that leg to give it to pull. It just feels tight around here, feels my back's not really bending.
Is it painful?
Yeah.
In that spot?
Yeah, just it's very, apart from whenever flare up where it might go right across my back, it's very, very localized.
Yeah. Got it. Can you do that movement again? Place it down. Tell me when you feel it.
From about there.
Okay. And can you do it again?
And there.
Do it again.
Like there. That's probably almost the worst point.
And you feel it out here?
Yeah. Sort of just about around there.
Okay. Good. Can I just show you what you're doing?
Yep.
Feel good. So can you go into that movement again? And go just down to that point where you feel it. You feel it?
Yep. And also there.
And if you keep going, what happens?
It kind of gets a bit less because it's normally almost the middle bit which is the most painful. The either end is almost like I'm not stretching it and I'm totally stretching it.
What do you notice about what your back's doing?
It just doesn't really bend at all. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just straight.
Yeah. So, if you keep your back straight,
Yeah.
it makes you very tense. So the more you keep your back, so you're doing something like this to bend,
Yeah.
that puts a lot of load on your back muscles. Okay? Makes them very stiff, very tense. When they relax is when you're round. Are you doing that on the bike as well? Are you trying to keep your back straight on the bike?
No, so I went out on a bike on Monday, on my road bike this time, just to see if it was the bike. And I wasn't trying to keep it straight. I mean, maybe the setup of it is massive bike, quite tall, it's like a big frame.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to keep it straight, I was almost trying to have a bit of a bend, and then my back was rubbish for 3 days
What
afterwards.
about your tummy rebracing?
Trying not to, but again, it was, you know, I'm probably then stop thinking about it, revert to the norm.
Okay, let's have a look at some other movements. Can you bend backwards? And what do you feel?
And I'm going to fall over. I feel like a ball. I feel like I'm bending almost on my knees rather than going like that.
Yeah. Good leg. What do you feel?
It just feels tight around there.
Yeah. Feel right?
It feels like it's pinching there.
Okay. So if I just feel here, just go left for me. Okay. Go right for me.
Yes, but I don't know if you were trying for it not to hurt, but it didn't hurt so much then.
Just go right again. Feel that?
Not really.
No.
Less. I can actually feel the stretch more on my left side.
Yeah. So just bend over again for me. This time what I want you to do is, are you fearful of that?
So
You're anticipating pain.
yeah, absolutely. I'm waiting for the pain to start. Then I will probably tense up. It probably makes it more painful.
Let's find out. So can you just, bending's about letting go. Because gravity's kind of pushing you down anyway.
Yeah.
So if you're fighting gravity, you'll do that.
Yeah.
If you watch me bend, I sock my knees, just let gravity take you down. So you let go through your hips and let your body relax.
Okay.
And don't tense your tummy. Just try that.
Obviously better. You've done this before.
I don't think you have though. So why is that different?
It's not. I've conditioned myself to tighten up, take muscle
Before you move.
then bend. Yeah.
Just do a few of them. And just stay there. Like you go. Just flop, hang. Breathe through your belly. You let your belly go. What do you feel as you hang there?
I feel it a bit.
Stretch or pain?
Probably more stretch.
Does it worry you?
No, I think my hamstrings are stretching more.
Let your head drop. Okay, up, come. Anything when you come up?
No, so I was trying not to tense up.
Good, good. Okay. Just relax there. Breathe into your belly. Up and come. Okay. Can we have you, any other movements that, so you're doing weights in the gym stuff,
Yeah.
like squats and
No,
stuff?
I can't do anything with my legs, really.
No.
I'll do maybe step-ups. I do body weight squats more as a stretch to try and get down.
Show me.
So just to kind of, so I can sit like this for a while and kind of stretch my back out there.
So how does that feel?
Feels all right?
Is that something you'd like to do?
Yeah. I couldn't do this before. The first video I saw said about opening up my hips. This is quite a good way to do it.
Yeah. So you see the irony in all this, don't you? Because in a sense, you're rounding out your back, but all day you're not.
Yeah.
So you kind of got these contradictions going on that you think you should keep your back straight because you're worried about this pitching of the nerve.
Yeah.
So you're keeping it, you're pre-tensing it, you're not holding it straight, you're trying to sit up straight, but then you get relief from bending.
Yeah. But not doing it.
Well, it's like all day you were doing one thing and you spent 45 minutes furiously trying to undo everything you've done all day.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you reckon?
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So just let me check your, just down on your left foot. So is it painful to run?
It's just stiff. It's just like doing my shoelaces up. I have to find somewhere that's not too high that it feels like it's stretching it, but it's high enough that I'm not leaning down.
So what would you have done? You would have done that.
Yeah. Now I do. Like, if I put my trousers on, I'm kind of instead of bending down to put them on, I'm kind of putting them on sideways.
Can you take your shoes on?
That's just the laziness thing, isn't it?
Put it on. You're saying you're actively avoiding doing those things.
Yeah, because hurts. And I don't want it to make it worse.
Yeah. Okay, I'll leave it. So just face this way again, sorry. Stay on your right foot. And just stay on that foot and bend down towards your toes. See what it feels.
It's hard to balance.
Up and come. Any problem with that? Not really. Can you come down on that leg and stand up on that? And again. Any problem with that? No. Can you hop on your right foot? On your left foot? Any problem with that?
No.
Okay. Now,
I was also told I don't activate my glutes a lot.
right,
So I was given exercise, like basic exercises, just to try and get them working, so they're not firing very well.
okay. Can you just grab a seat on and then face that way? Face this. Actually, that's okay. Yeah, good. Just show me, if you're, imagine, sorry, I'll bring that a little bit. If you're at work, what's the posture that you are trying to hold?
In doing that, I'm sort of, again, you kind of grow up, so, chest out, shoulders back, so it's almost a false posture of straightness.
Right. But you're trying to do that all day?
I was, yeah, I'm not as much now, but yes, I was.
And how many hours?
However long I work, I am up and down a lot,
Yeah.
so I'm not just sat at my desk, but say I'm sat at the desk for 4 hours a day,
Yeah.
or I'm sat somewhere,
Yeah. You're thinking about sitting up straight.
yeah, or I find myself slumped, so I'll sit up straight,
So
or
what's your idea of slump?
if I was in, I might be laying back slightly, or bent over onto a table.
Do you notice something that looks familiar with that compared to how you bent as well?
Just doesn't move, just that,
Or you just hold yourself like a brown?
yeah.
So if you look at your idea of slouching,
It's slouching in there.
yeah, we're trying to find it.
Right. Okay. Oh look, I slouched.
Did you? I don't see it.
No, come see it. Look, there's
No,
that's
there's
not.
no slouch.
My
That's
mother,
just bending the top.
my mother would be proud.
No, I'm just interested. Did you get a lot of that as a kid? Sit up straight.
I just think that there's a generation of, you stand up straight, you sit up straight.
Is that a British thing?
I think it's yes.
I never got that.
You wanted to told to
I
slouch
got
around
that
everywhere.
physiotherapy school that
Yeah.
before it. Okay. Can we just, I tend to grab that mirror. It's not in great shape, that mirror.
It's not, is
Ooh. We're having some trouble here. I try that. I don't think that's going to work. Low tack here, something creative there. Can you see your back?
Yeah.
Just relax yourself. So when you try and relax, it looks like you're doing it from here. You just let your pelvis ground backwards. There you go. Relax.
That gets me relaxed.
Okay. You relax your tummy. Let your belly go. There you go. Is that your maximal relax? Keep your belly soft. What does that feel like?
It feels like I'm slumped.
Does it feel wrong?
It doesn't feel natural. Though.
Okay. How does it feel like your back?
Fine, more comfortable.
Sit up straight again. What's that feel like?
Just stiff,
Okay.
rigid.
And tell me what you're feeling here.
Ow. Back. It hurts.
Okay, slouch. Fully slouch.
If you're pushing as hard, then a whole lot less. Still hurts.
That's my maximal.
Yep.
Just come back up again.
Yep, hurts a lot more.
So you know what we do when you sit up in this position to that muscle?
Just,
Feel it. Stick your thumb in there. Feel it.
well, touch the bone.
It's a muscle. It's a
Yeah.
really hard muscle. Now slump down. Slouching is wonderful because it relaxes you. Stick your thumb in there.
Just totally different.
So if you're holding this position all day, on and off, bracing through your stomach, that coral muscle doesn't get a rest
No.
at all. Now I've got to tell you, that's not your spine I'm sticking my thumb in.
Just.
That's not your spinal structures.
Right.
That's way off. Your spinal structures are here.
Yeah.
And the irony is, what you're feeling's here.
Yeah.
And that's a muscle.
Right. So this whole disc nerve thing is nothing.
You don't know everything.
No. Why does a surgeon say that?
Because he makes his decisions on a film,
Right.
not on sitting down and talking to you and examining you. How long did he spend with you?
If I was on his hourly, I'd be happy with his minutely rate for my hourly rate. 250 quid for about 4 minutes.
Well, yeah, what did he tell you? What's he making his decision making on?
Yeah.
Your film.
Yeah, the MRI.
Not where do you hurt? What's the nature of your pain? Where is it hurt? How does it hurt?
Absolutely.
So, and unfortunately, as you rightly know, 63% of people the very same thing,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't know about it. It just happens to be you've got pain in the region,
Mm-hmm.
and in what you were doing, you were given advice, lots of advice, that probably fed the very thing that
Yeah.
created it in the first place.
Yeah.
And so when it escalates, you end up going to see different people, and then they go, oh, well, we'll scan your back. No question about where your back pain is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And then, of course, you get, oh, well, you got disc bulges, and like, hello, so did everyone else.
Yeah.
But that's the default position. So then, hell, imagine if you ended up with all those fusions, and the pain stayed the same.
Yeah, be a bit pissed about that, yeah.
As we see it all the time, exactly that. Just bend over, down towards the floor. What's that like?
Feels okay. I can feel it a bit on the right.
No?
Yeah.
Stretch. Stretching, sensitive muscles. That's what that is. Up and down. Okay, sleep position. What's your sleep position? On your concrete bed.
Concrete bed, yeah, my fourth bed. So either just straight or laying on my left or right with my legs. Like that. Or like that.
So what position do you reckon your back's in here?
Probably pretty much the same as when I'm sat at my desk. Rigid.
Just relax. Do you feel what happens when I pop?
Yes.
You're doing this.
Yeah.
So you think about that. If I poke you with my finger,
Yeah.
you're not doing anything right. If I put the same pressure here,
Mm-hmm.
your body's response to pain is to do what?
Tense up.
And what are you saying? You're stiff, you're tense.
Yeah.
So you're feeling pain, you're stiffening up, you're feeling pain, you're tensing up, you're feeling pain, you're tensing up, you're holding your postures, you avoid it, and then you're not relaxing.
Yeah.
So what, can you see how you're feeling this?
Yeah. It's just.
So So that tissue type is sensitive, and your response to the sensitivity is to do the very thing that causes it.
Yeah.
You got trapped.
Yeah.
So let's get you to just breathe into your belly. So if I said to you, you know, you're a guy who's had lots of exercise, right? And I bet you if you had some muscle soreness in your triceps, you wouldn't go and seek care for it.
No.
Would you?
No.
Or if you had some, you know, muscle soreness, some delayed onset muscle soreness in your quad, you'd be going, oh, I've worked out.
Yep.
Yeah? And you wouldn't be worried about it.
Leave it,
You'd ignore it.
Yeah.
Let it go. But if you started thinking, oh, that quad was painful, that might be something seriously wrong, and every time you felt it, you started tensing your quad up, then you might get yourself into a bit of trouble.
Yep.
And you start walking around with a stiff leg, because you think bending it could be a problem.
Yep.
That locks the quad up even more, you're going to end up with a really sore quad. Now, that is a muscle. So if I convinced you that that was something that was not to be worried about or feared about, it's a muscle that needs to be relaxed and moved and worked in a normal way, and you could take your focus off your back because it had nothing to do with the spinal structures.
Yeah.
What would you think of that?
I'd give you a big hug.
Oh, okay, I'm on.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. And, you know, you're lucky, actually, that the pain is out here. Because the first thing that I thought when you showed it to me in school, that's not your spine. That's too lateral. That's muscular.
Yeah.
Just happens to be an insertion of where those muscles sit. So if we get you to breathe into your belly, fill your belly up. That's it. And just completely relax that back of your head. And if I'm touching you here, that's just muscle. Nothing to be feared. You feel how tight it is, like a little rocky rug. So if we get you to just relax your back a little bit more. Breathe into your belly. So breathing into the belly is the opposite of bracing your stomach. Breathing into your belly relaxes your back.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's something that I would recommend you do. So whereas I poke your back and you, or your muscle, you tense up,
Yeah.
what I'd like you to think is if you feel pain, you relax. Now, you know how you see you've grooved your mind, think, protect over the year, you keep your back straight, brace your tummy. If we were to give you a different thought, that is, every time you feel pain, slump, breathe, relax, do something completely different, that would be a different thought.
Absolutely.
Okay? And you can get away with that thought if you feel like it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
And you're more likely to do that if you realise that this is not a that exists in your whatever. It's about a muscle.
So when I'm asleep and unconscious,
You're probably tense.
right, there we go.
Well, that's your subconscious. You said you hold this in a little box that sits out here.
Yeah.
Your subconscious brain is still busy.
Yeah.
And if you're worried, you know, if you're someone who goes, no worries, I'm a bloke, I'm paranoid, I'm doing everything, no worries, but at the back of your mind you're going, this thing is threatening my ability to pay a big mortgage, ability to play with my kids, ability to be physically active, to do the things in life that are important to me. That little message is sitting over in the black box, that will be niggling away. And if your body's thinking, that's something I need to protect, it will.
Yeah.
It will. It will protect it. The human nervous system is extraordinarily able at protecting. But it usually is doing it in a very unhelpful way. It's why you get caught.
Yeah.
You get that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we kind of see it like this. If I can get this set up, I'm going to explain what I'm thinking. Now I want you to sit, so you can sit on the chair here. And I want you to just really completely slouch. Bring your feet forward. And I want you to just let your pelvis hear that. Letting go of the pelvis. Can you feel that? So even when you look like you're slouching, you're not slouching. If you're arching your back, yeah, that's it. Can you feel that? Like rounding your back out. Then breathe into your belly, breathe here. And I want you to relax your stomach. What does that feel like?
Uncomfortable?
So what I'm going to do is just explain what I'm thinking is going on here. And then I'm going to give you a few strategies. We're going to test them out.
Yep.
And then you've got to go and check them.
Okay.
See if I'm right. Okay?
Yep.
So the most important thing, well, so there are two key things. One is understanding what you're dealing with, really important. Because then if you're an intelligent guy, if you've got a clear idea of what you're dealing with, you've got strategies to manage it, you can stop worrying and get on with your life.
Absolutely.
That's how I see it.
Yep.
So I'm thinking you're a guy, context. The context here is you're a guy who's full on. And that means active, work, life. You got a full life, right? That's the context. In the last couple of years, you've had probably full on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just primes your system more. You've probably got more tension in your body. You know, then you have an event, we call it trigger, which was, you know, doing something that probably either tensed up, and you might have just irritated that muscle. Okay? So your trigger, which would have been linked to tension, tensing your back. So that was carrying the weight. Now, what we know about when your system's being really pushed and you're under a lot of pressure is that often your nervous system is more sensitive. And so that little trigger of tensing your back, you get a kind of exaggerated response. So instead of you just going, oh yeah, no worries, you go, oh, that's sort of sore and that doesn't settle so quickly. So when your system is stressed, you know you've got more inflammatory chemicals in your body, and so things don't settle so quickly. You've kind of told me that all these niggles take ages to settle, right? So you've got this combination of this trigger. So we'll put this kind of, you've got a certain stress load on your system, and then you add to the trigger, you tense your back, you get an exaggerated pain response. Okay? Now, your response to the pain is to then go, whoa, what's going on here? So you start, your body's response is usually to protect. And it does that by thinking, oh, backs, what does everyone in the world know about backs? You've got to stand up straight. You know, pull your belly and brace yourself, don't relax. Because that's the belief, right? So your protection, and that's kind of based on beliefs and it's based on advice, that protecting is what you do with pain. Yep. And so you start behaving in a certain way. So the behaviours are tense, rigid, avoid. And what that does is it fires more tension into your back. That causes more pain, that reinforces, oh, I better protect this. And then what happens, you start thinking, well, that's not getting better. And so when it's not getting better, what it does is you start increasing your worry. You start increasing your levels of frustration. You start protecting more, and that fires up your system even more, and you get trapped. And then you get told that, you know, there's something dangerous happening in your back. So your danger signals really ramp up your nervous system and you get really trapped. And that's how it starts escalating. It's a really common story that you're telling us.
Yeah.
Of this escalating pain in spite of doing all this stuff. Because if you look at it, the things you're doing directly inflate the problem. And there's this contradiction that came through in your story around the things that you're feeling, this muscle stiffness, and the more you're spending 45 minutes trying to unravel it, but the rest of the day you're building it. What do you reckon?
Sounds good.
So, well, it sounds like, does it make sense?
Yes,
because making sense is the key.
Yes, absolutely.
So the first thing I'd say is this doesn't look like a spinal structural problem at all. It looks like muscular pain.
And I know I asked it before, and I know a surgeon's job is to cut you open and inject stuff, but, you know, I do like to sit on that.
Tenses you up.
Yeah. But obviously I explained what it was and where it was. You know, it's not in my, it's round the side. So
4 minutes.
Yeah, maybe 5. I was lucky, I don't know. But, you know, maybe it's later that day. But still, he's, you know, he's a medical professional, he's a surgeon, he's a consultant, he's not paid £250 for 4 minutes. Surely, how you guys obviously see this a lot, but how, I don't know, almost don't know what the question is, why, I guess. Why are they saying these things that are so blatantly wrong? You know, this mental cycle is more of the contributing factor.
Well, you asked the same question.
Right.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. The whole world is littered with people being chopped up for stuff like this.
Yeah.
And they don't, it doesn't fix the problem. It's a belief-driven, industry-driven industry.
Yeah.
There's big money and
£250 for 4 minutes, yeah.
if you had the devices stuck in, that's rather big money.
Yeah.
And you know, if you look at the evidence base around back pain in the last 20 years, it's getting worse. The disability burden is getting bigger. The chronicity, the costs are blowing out. We're just creating a monster. And that's fundamentally driven by the fact that people believe that pain is because your structure's damaged. And yet if we look at the evidence behind it, we look at studies that look at a population of people and we MRI them, and we look at all those things that we found, like disc degeneration or bulges or whatever, and you track those people 3 years later and go, did those things predict pain? Not.
No.
Not.
I guess it's just that I'm lucky because I have private health insurance and...
Well, you're unlucky in the sense that you've got access to see those people.
Yeah, true. Very true, yeah. But I'm also lucky in terms of I get to come here, I get to see people like yourself and John. There's lots of people who get none of that and just end up down that
terrible.
route.
And it's terrible because it escalates and as your frustration goes up, your fear goes up, your danger sense goes up, you protect yourself more, it just feeds this monster. It is a monster. It's exactly what it is. And we see this kind of whole, you know, this whole process just ruins lives, basically. And it's conceptually so simple.
Yeah, I look at that, absolutely.
It's conceptually simple. Changing habits is really hard, but you're a guy who's motivated, you know, it's not like you have any limiting factor. The only limiting factor probably in your life is the fact that you're under enormous stress. But to my way of thinking, the key thing of this is another stress on top of the stress. So we can take that stress out, it improves your sleep, it allows you to get back to just doing normal stuff in the gym. That's going to take one extra stress out of your life.
Absolutely.
It allows you to do your other stuff.
Yeah.
So one of the things, the first thing I'd say to you, so if you think of that, what do you think you could take away from today to change right now?
Just be more floppy.
I hope you're being specific to your back.
Absolutely. I won't comment on that,
Yeah. So behave differently.
Yeah.
So, what you said you need to make sense of this. What are you going to be thinking about when you feel pain now? What are you going to think? So, if you feel pain, what's your response? Because what has been your response?
Tense up, protect.
Yeah, it is. Protect. So, how could you change that response?
To start, I think I need to be consciously less conscious, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so you can shift your focus if you're not worried.
Yeah.
Right? If you're thinking, it's a muscle, you don't have to think of that all the time.
No.
Don't check it.
No.
Don't look for it. Don't do that weird thing. Because you know what that does? It tenses that muscle.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it does. And it's a form of checking, and people check when they're worried. So that's your current response. The first thing to think is your pain does not equal damage.
That's a big thing.
It's massive. It equals muscle tension. Are you worried about muscle tension?
Not really.
Then how would you manage muscle tension?
Being all floppy.
And trust. So if I said to you before you came in today, how confident are you in your back? What would you say?
I'm confident.
Yeah. So you have to become confident in the structures of your back. You look like you've got a healthy, strong back that you've just lost confidence in.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me. So if you feel pain, pain is not damage, it's muscle tension. We need to build your confidence that if you feel pain, you relax and move normally. What's normal? Not thinking about it. That's what you said about decreasing the focus. So what we get you to do is focus on your habits, not your pain.
Yeah.
So if you have pain, you think, what's my posture? What's my breathing pattern doing? Use that as a strategy to diffuse it.
Yeah.
You got it?
Mm-hmm.
So change your habit. So I think that's a great idea. So that means that if you're going to put your shoes on, what are you going to do?
Bend over.
Yeah, you must bend. So you need to confront your problem by doing the things you thought you shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So bending is good. Relaxing is good. Slouching into the chair, how does it feel?
Nice.
Nice. Slouching is nice. So it goes against the grain.
I've never seen that. I was sitting.
You can see it, but even when you were sitting, you... And then let that focus go. That's what you lock in.
Yeah.
So this is really important about what you do through the day. Really important. What you're thinking, what you're doing, how you're responding. If you can diffuse that, you've got a way of knocking that system off. Okay?
Yep.
So if I look at you doing a bunch of these things, and I'm mindful that you've got to go in a sec.
Yeah.
So this position here, with your feet hooked under, bracing your belly, causes tension. And where we go, just relax. Got it?
Absolutely.
Breathe. Bending like this does exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Just
relax. And you've got to practice it and see if I'm wrong. Because if I'm wrong, it'll make you worse.
I look forward to that.
It will make you worse. See, they are the habits.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And you'll catch yourself doing them all the time. You'll catch yourself doing this. You'll catch yourself doing this. You'll catch yourself because they are the habits that is part of that protective thing. And you'll find that you're doing it subconsciously, and it's just like a habit that's you've got stuck in. And I want you to really break it. Now, I want you to come up and stand in for me. Oh, sorry, just one other thing. So these are the habit things. So on the bike, I want you just relaxing soft on your hands, spinning with your legs. Don't flog yourself. Just get yourself back into a routine. And I'd push you like cardio stuff anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Push your cardio and work with John around, gradually getting yourself back into doing stuff.
Yeah.
But you need to just let it calm down.
Yeah.
That's really important. Let it calm down. All this 45 minutes of stretching, I'm not sure about that. Balls and
Balls in
stuff.
your bum. Yeah.
I'm really not into that stuff.
Everyone's their own, I guess.
And I'm predicting that if you just relax through the day, you won't have to spend that 45 minutes doing all the loosening up.
Right.
So you can get into these positions. These are like a relaxed position. Just stay there. That's what's a great position that you're doing. That's a really nice position as well.
Yeah.
So they're great things to do to just relax your body and then just get into normal things. Don't think of this as rehab. Because that's not a structure I would be protecting.
No.
Alright, rehab's about, be careful with your back. This is like just get on with your life. Just relax and do normal stuff and don't protect it and get to the gym and do nice things and have fun and play with your kids and just get this a chapter of your past.
Excellent.
Now, stand up for me. Well, you have to stand up.
Back before I was going to stand up.
I'm trying to get out of the chair like it's really hard. What's that like? Here.
Nice.
Bend over. Up you come. What do you feel?
Less.
Go face that way for me. Bend over again. So the head up tenses you up, so just let it go, up you come. Just do a few of them. Up you come. And again. What do you feel?
You're not fine, but a whole lot less than
So how much less are you feeling when you relax as a percentage?
25% of discomfort.
So that much less.
Yeah. I mean, it's still tight. It is tight. So
Yeah.
it's still.
And it will take a little while to relax it off.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'd love you to, you flick John a text in 2 days' time.
Yeah.
It's worth the hour.
Okay.
And let us know.
Yeah.
Okay? So my thoughts, in terms of, have you got any questions from today? Anything that you want to ask me?
No, I can take a picture.
Yeah, you
of
can
that.
take them all.
Yeah. No, I just think it's a lot. Seems to, I've got into bad habits.
Yeah. And it's around, what we know about this thing is that if you're thinking this is something I don't understand or it's something threatening, you will protect yourself.
Yeah.
Even subconsciously you will. And that's what I'm observing. That you've got all these habits that are telling me that you think you've got a damaged back.
Absolutely.
But there's nothing in my examination to support it. Nothing. Now, there are lots of people we do see who have got, you know, pain-related discs or whatever, and we do the same thing with them anyway, but you don't even have that.
No.
That's the great thing I reckon.
Excellent. Excellent.
Can you take a photograph of that? Yeah. So what are you going to do if you feel pain?
Be more floppy. Chill out.
Yeah.
Bend.
Relax.
Relax.
Yeah, but don't do your weird, you know, twisty thing. Lacrosse balls are for lacrosse. Oh, what was it? Lacrosse. Yeah. They're quite hard, aren't they?
Very nice. Definitely fun.
Funny that. Okay. Okay. How confident are you that this is right? Yep. So the key thing here is it takes a year to build this up. Yep. It takes time to calm it down. Okay? But we look at these things as trajectories. The trajectory is going the wrong way. We want to see it go the other way. So the key thing around when you're frustrated is have a strategy to counter the frustration. And that means reassuring yourself it's only muscle, relax, breathe, move normally, you don't need to pay attention to that. Okay, so that kind of decreases the threat value and allows you to have strategies to change what's happening. So if you feel pain, remember what happened when I poked in the back?
Do you know
You tense up, I want you to feel whatever. Poke in the back, I don't want you to tense up.
Yeah, the football.
I want you to just go, that's just pain in a muscle.
Yeah.
So that's the same pressure as you would have got. Just keep thumbing at yourself.
Like a lump of lead.
Nice practice. Yeah.
Why?
Because my belief is now that it's not
You've got to
something
see it.
I used to look after Michael when I was in football. Okay. You guys looking at it?